We've heard about so many different technologies today. We've heard about the blockchain. We've heard about decentralized economies. And I think the major theme that seems to be coming through again and again is every technology can be used for good and evil. Each of these new innovations can be used to further human rights or be used to challenge human rights. And it's the same with drones, right? We see drones killing people across the world, or we see them being used for journalistic purposes. And now that we're done with that, I'm gonna start the presentation. My name's Yusuf Omar. I am a mojo. Anybody know what a mojo is? What's a mojo? You can't say that you've hired me before. That doesn't count. Exactly. I'm a mobile journalist. That means I shoot, I edit, I produce everything with my mobile phone. I'm a jeans journalist, a selfie journalist. I use my phone to get by. You guys can find me at Yusuf Omar SA. That's my social media handle. And it's exactly the same with the technologies that I use for storytelling. I mean, these glasses that I'm wearing right now, if I press this button, it's got a flashing light. I'm taking video of you right now. This is a powerful technology, wearable storytelling that can be used to expose human rights abuses. Or it could be used to take weird pictures in the bathrooms. But the point is, all of these technologies have two purposes. Social media is another example, can be used for phenomenal good and phenomenal evil. I come from a background of 10 years as a foreign correspondent. I used to work at CNN in London. I used to work at the Hindustan Times in India. I worked across the African continent for a few years. I want to share with you guys a couple of examples of how you can train communities to tell stories with mobile phones, and you can effectively gain access to hard-to-reach stories around human rights abuses. 2010, I hitchhiked from South Africa to Syria, from Durban to Damascus, telling stories with mobile devices. 2012, I was in Congo, an ammunition depot exploded in the middle of Congo. And 2014, I was in Syria, smuggled in to cover the Syrian civil war.
The Free Syrian Army have apologized for the incident and insist that it will not happen again.
And after all of that, all I learned was that traditional media were out of touch with real stories and real voices on the ground. It's the very reason we missed Trump rising up in the US. It's the very reason we missed Brexit in the UK. We were talking to polls and pundits and experts, and we weren't getting in touch with real voices on the ground. So in the same time that you're hearing about decentralized economies at this event, I'm talking about decentralized storytelling. And the company that we have is called #OurStories. Over the last 4 months, we've been to 40 countries and trained communities from Palestine to Australia how to tell stories with their phones.
We're the next billion mobile users, and we won't be silenced. We're here to engage and inform.
Empowering mobile storytellers to bring about reform.
We don't need satellite trucks, and that's a fact.
Faster and cheaper than that.
Good storytelling.
I don't have time, so you can watch it in your own time. The point is, it's a very simple idea, training people to tell stories with their phones, but it potentially has very complex results. And to master this, you need to understand the idea of looking beyond the gimmicks. Anybody familiar with these? Yeah? I'm going to take a selfie wearing one. These are face filters. You look through any young kid's phone and they're masquerading behind them. But how can we use this technology to expose human rights abuses? How can we use this technology to do better storytelling? I was working with rape survivors in India, and we were able to give the young girls my phone, and they were able to swipe through the phone and find filters to hide their faces while enabling them to tell their stories.
There are people wearing virtual face masks on Snapchat. Victims of sexual abuse in India are using them to remain anonymous so they can tell their harrowing stories without the fear of being recognised.
I was 5 years old when it happened. लोग मुझे ज़बरदस्ती मैसूर लेकर आए, मुझे एक कमरे में बंद रखते थे, मुझे बहुत काम लगा, वो टॉर्चर्स देते थे, घर में से बाहर निकलने नहीं देते.
It's incredibly simple, but as we saw, incredibly effective.
As the audience, we got to see their eyes, their mouths, their expressions, no more blurring out faces and silhouettes and showing their hands. And as young women, they had the opportunity to decide how they would be represented. This is the decentralized storytelling model where I'm no longer holding the camera, they are, looking beyond the gimmicks. That's Snapchat. What about Instagram? We were able to use Instagram stories in India, working with garbage collectors, a group of society that is completely ignored by the mainstream media. We trained up a group of garbage collectors how to tell their stories on Instagram stories, heard nothing from them for 10 months. We thought the training had completely failed. Then the Indian government raised the GST taxes on recyclable plastics, directly impacting the livelihoods of these garbage collectors. And out of nowhere, we started seeing #WasteGST popping up on our social media timelines, because in their most dire moment when nobody was listening to them, they resorted to their mobile cameras to be heard.
मैं रमेश महतो सफाई सेना
और मैं इस टाइम निजामुद्दीन में लाइव हूँ। हम निजामुद्दीन लेस्पिकर कम्युनिटी में हैं।
Hold down the right button for 10 seconds and take a video. We're doing a mobile journalism session here in Nizamuddin with the community.
He says, I'm not going to give up.
Social impact. At the end of the day, everything we do is focused on social impact, but it goes a step further. I think my generation are tired of just hearing about human rights abuses. We want to know solutions. And if you look at the top 10 posts on Facebook from month to month, they are not negative. They're constructive, positive stories. The old maxim in traditional media was if it bleeds, it leads. Nowadays, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a blunt message. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a blunt message, Nazis. But you get the idea. Constructive, positive stories. I think we need to stop talking about problems. We need to start talking about solutions. Working in India with a group of women that cover their faces, we were able to uncover the story in a different kind of way.
We're not allowed to do what we want to do.
From what age do the girls have to cover their face?
From 10 years.
I want to be a journalist.
A girl must be covered from head to feet as she reaches the adolescence.
And most recently, working in Palestine, we're using social VR. We're able to connect, say, a rabbi in Tel Aviv and an imam in Ramallah, putting them both into virtual reality headsets and having them have conversations. Palestine's first ever Facebook Live news show. We're going to be showing you all sorts of things from across the West Bank. Lots of cool technologies, lots of cool ways to empower communities, but it's impossible unless you can provide funding. And often it's really difficult to get funding to these parts of the world. I'm telling you about the communities. I'm telling you about how to tell their stories. The next panel up ahead are going to tell you how to get funds in the hands of the people that need it most. That's all my time. Thank you very much.